Hey people, this is Conrad Layn here. Welcome my YouTube neighbors. This is just my journey to Conrad Layn Turo IPO journey, where I'm gonna try to do my best to figure out the intrinsic value of what potentially Turo might be once it goes through the initial public offering, which is IPO. I have strong conviction in this company as a Turo host. I'm not telling you to invest in Turo host, so don't try to litigate me or take me to court. I'm not telling you to purchase Turo stock when it becomes a stock. I'm just simply showing you my journey. Stay tuned, watch the video, people. Hey y'all, this is Conrad Layn here, hanging out in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. This is gonna be Turo IPO Journey Mexico edition. So I'm having such a good time, and just because I'm not home, I have a similar setup. So I just set up my my hat back there on the table near water, which I love. Water represents freedom to me. But I'm going to talk about stocks. And again, I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not your institutional investor. I'm not your retail investor. I'm not your broker. I'm not your business consultant. I'm none of those things to you. I'm just a nerd who loves numbers, and I read 10Ks in my spare time. For those that are a little more sophisticated in regards to investing and more experienced might understand that. And for those that are just newbies, this is what this channel is all about. I'm going to break it down. And again, I am not a specialist. I'm not saying I'm the most sophisticated. I'm simply a retail investor, and I invest in stocks, and I want to share my IPO journey with y'all. And I'm currently traveling, and I love stocks, and I was just reading a few more 10Ks about other companies for the last 2 or 3 hours. So I just want to kind of break down what I've learned about Turo's IPO. It's already been filed since August 9th, 2021. Woohoo! But again, always invest at your own risk. I'm not telling you to invest in Turo, not to invest in Turo. This is Turo's IPO journey from around the world. I'm in Mexico currently. And Turo, if Turo was a lovely lady, I would love to date Turo. I love Turo. I would totally take Turo to the nicest restaurants. I'll totally take Turo around the world with me. But since it's a company, the best I can do is just simply learn more about Turo and invest in Turo. Funny humor, maybe not that funny, but anyways, let's get right into it, people. So first and foremost, I'm going to share my screen with you to show you what I found about Turo IPO. So for those that are a little more sophisticated in regards to being experienced stocks and investments, you'll probably appreciate that. And for those that are newbies, I want this channel to be the first channel to really be where someone shows their face and dives deep into what they can find. Oftentimes it's not that deep when you find information about companies, but I'm going to share filings. I'm going to share what an EDGAR system is. I'm going to share what Securities Exchanges, SEC. I'm going to share what the filings are. I'm going to share a lot of internal information that I found in regards to Turo IPO, which is going to be quite interesting. And I'm going to share what an angel investor is. I'm going to share what an accredited investor is. I'm going to share a lot of information. So follow my screen right through, people. Welcome to my archive of articles. I've been doing a lot of research in regards to Turo IPO journey. This is just my Turo IPO journey, my opinions. I'm not telling you to invest in Turo or not to invest in Turo, but it's been great. On August 9th, 2021 this year, Turo has filed confidentially for IPO status, which is cool, which means they're going to potentially go public. And any private company that becomes public was private at a time. And so I want to dive right into that. So in regards to this, there is a company that's very similar based on this Yahoo Finance article named Airbnb. You might know what Airbnb is, and if you haven't, you should do some due diligence. They're very similar. They were a private company that are doing phenomenally well, and they became public. And before a company goes public, they're a private company. So all that pretty much means is that they will actually get to a point where they will actually accept financials from and investments from angel investors and accredited investors. And to be an accredited investor, there's a certain you have to be qualified for that. Actually, you can't just say you're an accredited investor and that's it. You actually have to actually be approved to be an accredited investor. You have to be have a certain net worth or earn a certain amount of income per year. There's rules that are applied, and you have to be of competent nature. You have to understand what you're doing. There's a lot of other rules. I'm not gonna dive into that, but long story short, Airbnb and Turo and a lot of private companies, before they become public, and the ones that are still private, they do need investments typically, because it takes money to start a business. Typically it takes money to grow as well. So the good thing is, usually when a company is filing, and in my personal opinion and based on what I've researched, most companies that go public, they already have investors from internal accredited investors or angel investors. But what happens is they want to grow further. So when they want to grow further, they usually want to give the public access. But that means they have to file publicly through the SEC which allows the public to know information that's furnished at the board meetings, like when it's collected, how much they're in debt, what's their margin, what's their leverage, etc. It gives us a lot of information so we can invest in a competent manner, and so it just keeps things a bit fair. So I'm gonna run through this and show you guys a little bit of what I mean. So the SEC, pretty much, let me go down here and show you what that is so you guys know. So the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, that's what it stands for, SEC. So pretty much I'm looking at something called the Edgar system. And all the Edgar system simply does, it just keeps everything transparent for if you're interested in filing or investing in a company. So for example, I'm using the Edgar system right now to look up Turo. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see it shows Turo's address. It shows the Turo filer, the numbering, the IRS number as well. And that they filed for a Form D. I'm gonna click in and show you what a Form D is. This is the Form D from the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, Form D. Notice of exempt offering of securities. All it simply means it has Turo's old name, Relay Rides. It shows Turo Inc. where they're filed at. Scroll all the way down, so it makes everything as transparent as possible. Shares who the directors are, who the executives are, who the CEO is, etc. Information you should need. What type of industry group they consider to put other technology travel, which sounds about right. Issuer size, and it's right here, it says decline to disclose. And often at times why that happens is because Turo and most companies like this, they file for IPO confidentially, because they don't want competitors having their private information, because they try to keep that off, because it's a very competitive and volatile market, and very competitive market where people steal information, so they want to protect their information oftentimes. So they usually file confidentially, letting you know that they are going to become public, but at the same time they don't want to give too much information that companies can steal their information. So they try to keep the information as much as possible. Many companies do this actually. So this is what you look at. It's a Form D. You scroll at the bottom, you'll see the Chief Executive Officer, who's Andre Haddad. On the bottom, he signed off on it. Let me show you some more. NASDAQ on their webpage show that IAC invested $250 million in Turo, which I already, weeks ago, probably over a month ago, I already released a video going in deep details. I'm not going to go in deep detail again, but I just want to show you right on NASDAQ page. And this is no reason why, this is not a reason to think why Turo will probably be trying to NASDAQ, but hey, I do believe Turo will be trying to NASDAQ, and even here on NASDAQ's page, they have a few of the some information and articles in regards to Turo. Now, if we go to Wikipedia, it goes into accredited investor. Like I stated, there's like rules that apply to become an accredited investor, or sophisticated investor is an investor with a special status under financial regulation laws. Kind of what I mentioned, you have to be qualified for. You can't just say you're an investor and be an accredited investor. There's certain guidelines you must follow. And this is typically for people when a company files, as I showed before, a Form D. It's for people that are basically like angel investors and accredited investors that have a certain net worth, etc. It's more private investing. So Turo's done this, where there's been investors and firms and companies that have invested in Turo, but you have to be of competent nature. You have to be an accredited investor. It's not for the public to invest. But now we potentially are getting the option as the public to invest in Turo. And when companies go IPO, it's usually to further their trajectory of growth, so which is very exciting. Let me show you what an angel investor is. An angel investor, also known as a business angel, informal investor, angel funder, private investor, or seed investor, is an individual who provides capital for a business or business's startup, usually in exchange for convertible debt or ownership equity, which IAC did that. Let me go back to the IAC article to show you that. So right on the NASDAQ page, look what it says right here. And today, Turo announced that IAC has agreed to invest $250 million in Turo, the world's largest peer-to-peer car sharing marketplace. IAC's capital will accelerate Turo's growth and strengthen its global leadership position. With this investment, IAC will become the largest shareholder in Turo, with the rights to expand its ownership over time. Booyah! That's all you have to know. So when you invest in a company, you buy shares of it, you buy ownership of it, and they're a large player. And the more money Turo has, the more that they use to grow, but the more that a company can own parts of Turo. So it's very, very fascinating, actually. And again, this is the Form D. So a lot of private, when you're an accredited investor, you can actually invest in a private company, and the private company must file a Form D, which lists the people here. Look at this. And people that invest in a company, or that are directors, executive officers. Very, very interesting information. Right here states that Turo announced a confidential submission of draft registration statement for proposed initial public offering. As I mentioned again, all that simply means is that Turo basically filed for an IPO status, but what they do is they keep it confidential so that competitors don't steal their information and its stats, etc. Because stolen information, that's against the law. And not just that, it's unfairly used by other companies that would try to steal the information, make it their own. That's basically what it means. And I'm going to here, Wikipedia, Edgar. I already showed you guys how to use the Edgar system. The Edgar system pulls up information on Turo or any company you want to look for. The electronic data gathering analysis retrieval system performs automated collection, validation, indexing, acceptance, and forwarding of submissions by companies. Others who are required by law to file forms with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. All that simply means is that Edgar and the Securities and Exchange Commission have a duty to furnish information as much as they possibly can, and they require the private companies that want to become public to furnish their information in a public manner, so that public investors and retail investors like myself and others can actually make competent decisions. Because there's something called inside trading that's completely wrong, and they try to fight against that. Because what happens is, if you tolerate inside trading and it's allowed, investors on the outside don't know what's going on the inside, and there's a miscommunication or sometimes no communication, and you don't know what you're investing in, and that's how you lose money, unfortunately. So Securities and Exchange Commission is supposed to, their job and duty is pretty much to make sure to keep things fair, basically. Just keep it at that, keep things fair. And that's pretty much what, just want to, in a nutshell, everything I wanted to share with you guys. That's really about it for the most part. Just want to show you this too. The confidential IPO was first introduced in 2012. Here's a little lesson. As part of the Jumpstart or Business Startups JOBS Act, as a way to support small companies in their efforts to go public. That's all this is. It allowed any company with revenue of $1 billion or less to file an S1 with the Securities and Exchange Commission, but confidentially, the paperwork will be available to the public approximately 15 days prior to the actual offering. Now, there was a big change in 2017. The SEC extended the confidential filing to all companies, regardless of size, people. So I'm kind of just flying through this, sharing like finance 101, basically. And again, always do your own due diligence. But that's about it. Just want to kind of get into that, show you guys what this bit is, what's kind of going on, and just kind of quick history / finance 101 lesson. You guys, love you guys. Conrad Layn out.